for BBSI Services, Talking Business. We have a chance to talk with Jason Steele, who is a writer covering the payments industry, credit cards, has a big conference coming up in Washington, D.C. Jason, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm just finalizing everything for CardCon today.
Well, that's terrific. Tell us a little bit about, you've got a lineup of keynote speakers. This is going to be in Washington, D.C. over September 8th and 9th. And coming up, tell us a little bit about your keynotes.
Yeah, we've got three great keynote speakers lined up this year. We have Adam Levin, who is one of the original founders of Credit.com, which is just a leading outlet and one that I contributed to for many years. He no longer owns that outlet, but he's just someone of note in the credit card industry. Now he's a cybersecurity expert, and he has a company called Cyber Scout, and he's going to really illuminate this field, which is just unbelievable. A few years ago, if you mentioned cybersecurity, it was like a science fiction term or something that computer geeks worried about. And now, of course, it's everyday news that affects everyone. So we're really looking forward to hearing from him. Our next keynote speaker is a good friend of mine, Winnie Sun. And not only is she a financial advisor, a really savvy one at that, she's also one of the most popular social media stars online in the personal finance area. So she's got a lot of background on that. But as a friend of mine, I've also learned that she's really into credit cards and travel rewards, more so than most people. And she just is unafraid to admit that she just totally geeks out on that. So she's a lot of fun to hear from on just many levels. And then finally, on Tuesday morning, we have Austin Mueller, who is an analyst for the CFPB. I mean, no conference about credit cards in Washington would be complete without hearing from some government speakers, and we do have a couple here. And so they just came out with a report on the credit card industry. I mean, just within the last, I think, 24 hours. So really excited to hear what he has to say. I met him at a conference earlier this year, and he's just a really smart guy who is in a really key position at CFPB. So those are our three keynote speakers right now.
Well, that's terrific. You've got some terrific sessions. I know you, in your writing, have a background in consumer credit. Are consumers getting punished for following the advice of financial media? And some excellent programs here. Tell us a little bit about the sessions that you have lined up.
Yeah, well, we have three types of sessions, or I might call it three pillars of content. There's credit cards, the products, consumer credit, and credit card affiliate marketing, which is really very distinct from other forms of affiliate marketing. So the one you mentioned are consumers being punished for the advice that we as journalists are giving them. And that's a really interesting topic, because a lot of personal finance media is saying, don't apply for credit, avoid credit, credit is bad. Of course, you have your Dave Ramsey faction that would have you avoid credit altogether. And some of that sounds good, and it certainly might even be appropriate advice for people who cannot manage credit responsibly. But I think that's a very small minority. So what we're going to explore is what about the rest of us? What about those people who follow that advice, and then they go to maybe apply for a mortgage, and they think they probably have excellent credit because they certainly don't have any debt, but what they find is they have essentially no credit history, or a thin file, as it's often called, and they then become really frustrated because they've been following all this advice, and look, they don't have the ability to to get a car loan or a home loan, and they only realize that later. So another session we have in the field of consumer credit is one, let's see, we have one that's about the behind the scenes of the credit card approval process. And so we're going to look at, I think journalists here, they really want to know, what does it take to be approved for a credit card? How do you give advice to your readers on being approved? What factors come into play? And I think, based on my experience, it's not what most people think. It's not like they just take a quick look at your credit score, that there's a manual aspect to it when you talk to people. Certainly if you've had a bad history with that credit card issuer, they might have a longer memory than maybe your credit score and your credit history. So there's all sorts of interesting things we're going to learn there. We have a session on credit cards about the credit card technology, and we said, fasten your seatbelt for an exciting ride. Things are changing really quickly after maybe decades of stagnation, from magnetic stripes to where we are now to where we're going. Also, we're going to look at the sustainability of credit card rewards. We're gonna dive into credit card rewards. It's certainly a hobby of many of the writers who write about the credit card industry, like myself, collecting travel rewards. But we're going to dive right in. We're going to say, is this sustainable? 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x points or 6% cash back is what we're seeing at the upper limit. And where does it go? I mean, there's someone offering 7x. I think Brex is doing that now for some purchases on their new card. So we actually have someone from this exciting new Brex card that's a small business startup credit card that has a lot of venture capital behind it. And then, of course, we'll be talking about credit card affiliate marketing, creating compliant content, forming partnerships, and how different segments of the marketplace share their approach, from small card issuers to large ones and everything in between. So really going heavy on the content this year, but I still don't think we're sacrificing any networking opportunities. And we're doing that by having 2 different breakout rooms, or 1.3 different sessions at the same time, giving attendees a chance to pick and choose what they want to see, kind of like a larger conference. So as we grow, we have that opportunity.
Well, Jason, you've got a lot of great content and sessions, and then you're going to have a number of roundtable discussions. And one of those is going to be staffed by one of my colleagues, Jack Honar from CBSI. Mm-hmm. So you got a nice set of roundtable discussions.
Yeah, we really do. We have a really diverse mix of people from different companies. Like Jack, we have a representative from FICO. We have a representative from Experian. Brand Verity. We have someone from AWIN, a friend of mine, Janine Crooks, who is I think one of the most knowledgeable people in the world when it comes to affiliate marketing. It's really a great format, because you can sit down with someone. The conversation wanders in different directions. It's interactive. You're not just sitting there listening. You're participating. And at the end of these sessions, it's inevitable that not only will you be able to exchange business cards with the leader of the discussion, but also with other attendees. And networking is just a huge part of why people come to these events.
Okay, Jason Steele, tell us a little bit about how someone can sign up for the conference in Washington. That is going to be September 8th and 9th.
8th, 9th, and 10th, actually. Yeah.
9th and 10th. I'm sorry, 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
And, tell us how you can sign up.
Sure. Well, we have some pre-conference events in the afternoon of the 8th, but it gets going in earnest on the 9th. You can go to cardconexpo.com, and registration is still open. We'd love to see you there.
That's great. Jason Steele, we'll look forward to seeing you in Washington next week for your CardCon conference. It sounds terrific. Thanks so much for giving
Ken.
us
Can't
a
wait
preview.
to see you. Take care.
All right. Absolutely. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Talking Business from our headquarters in Harrison, New York.